Hello, this is Peck Rosa, coming to you live from snowy, but not that snowy, Rochester, New York. It's actually a beautiful day here. It's sunny, but there's still that white stuff on the ground, so we have to deal with that. But unlike last weekend's podcast, there is not too much snow, which is good, and I didn't have to snowplow a lot this weekend, which is great. But obviously, you have not come here because you want to talk about the snow. I mean, we could, but that wouldn't make sense. This is a football talk show, and what better way to talk about football but the most exciting time of the year, which is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 53 will be coming up in about a week from today, which will be exciting. It will be the Rams versus the Patriots in Atlanta. And let me just say, this is a juicy matchup between two really good teams of the NFL. The Rams, who has had a high-flying offense the entire season, and also the Patriots, who have come together in the playoffs and beaten up the Chargers and squeaked by the Chiefs to make it to their third straight Super Bowl and their fourth Super Bowl in the last 5 years. And yes, a lot of people are tired of seeing the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and trust me, I am too. As a Bills fan, it does get nauseating that the Patriots are in the Super Bowl every year, especially this year, where everyone thought that they were on the decline. They had 5 losses this year, which is the most or 4 or 5 losses this year, which is the most they've had in quite a while. But we all know once the Patriots get to the playoffs that they get hot again, especially when they are at home, which they were in the divisional round. So it is frustrating, and 3 straight means they're one more season away from 4 straight, and as a Bills fan like me, 4 straight Super Bowls is what we hang our hat on in Buffalo, and if the Patriots do it, then that'll be rough. But for the Patriots this year, I think the key to win the Super Bowl is to establish the run and really perfect that short passing game that they've done with the Chargers and the Chiefs. And you saw that happen, especially in overtime against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's face it, Tom Brady, although he looks really good, and he at 41 years old, he looks like a guy that is 10 years younger than what he really is. He can't throw that deep ball anymore, in my opinion. I think a perfect example of this came in the Chargers game early on, and he had a guy open by like 2 or 3 steps, and he severely underthrew that pass, and it was knocked down and incomplete. So the Patriots do know this, and they perfect that short passing game to Julian Edelman, Rob Gronkowski, Chris Hogan, and that has been successful for the Patriots, especially in the playoffs. And I think that's what they'll do in this game is have Tom Brady throw those short 10 to 15-yard passes, which he is really good at completing, and run the ball effectively. I think that's the biggest thing for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl this year is to run the ball, which they've done great at in the playoffs. I've been really impressed by Sony Michel. Their first-round pick this year has really come on has really come on in the playoffs. That he has had over 100 yards in both of their playoff games, and has scored uh, 4 touchdowns in the playoffs alone. So I think he'd be a big factor in what the Patriots do offensively. And as for their defense, I think their defense has been great in both games, but I think they definitely trailed off in the second half of last week's game against the Chiefs. Because Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things, and the Chiefs almost came back in the championship game. And I know people will blame the referees, but the Chiefs really handled the Patriots defense really well in the second half of that game. And I'll tell you what, when the Chiefs scored a go-ahead touchdown with 2:05 remaining in the game, I knew it was too much time, because Tom Brady will just march right down the field, because that's what he does, because he is really one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. And yes, he could be the greatest, but he is impressive, especially in those clutch time situations. So it's running the ball and getting pressure on Jared Goff is what will be the big difference in the game next Sunday. As for the Rams, they've been impressive in the playoffs. I've been really impressed by them, and I know people will talk about how the Rams got to the Super Bowl because of a penalty which should have been called on Nickel Roby-Coleman, because that was definitely pass interference. And I know Nickel Roby-Coleman from his days in Buffalo, and he is a good player. He plays with a lot of intensity and just really defends the ball really well. He has great technique, and he does make good plays. He does make good plays on the ball, but in that certain situation, yes, it should have been called for a penalty, and that changed the way the game played. You get a first down there, and the Saints almost run out the clock to kick the game-winning field goal, but that's not what happened. And the Rams pushed it to overtime and won on a well-kicked 57-yarder, which was really impressive, game-winning kick. And so here they are in the playoffs, and offensively, it's been an interesting playoffs for the Rams. Jared Goff has played great, I thought, in both games. He has made the right decisions, the right throws, and really calmly brought the Rams back from that championship game in New Orleans. But what's interesting throughout this entire playoffs offensively for the Rams is that Todd Gurley is not as involved in the running game as many thought he would be in the playoffs. I'm not sure the reason. I know he was hurt the last couple of games of the season, and that limited his productivity, or is it just another thing that we don't know about? I mean, he looks healthy. He scored a touchdown in the championship game, but he's just not as involved. And C.J. Anderson, who came off from the street in December, has really had a good postseason for the Rams, and they haven't really lost a step to their running game, but that's something to keep an eye on as the Super Bowl goes on, is how often Todd Gurley plays. And I mean, the Rams have great receivers: Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, and for Jared Goff to throw to them, I think they need to be really productive in order for these Rams offense to run. I think that's the key to victory offensively, and Jared Goff has to make the right decisions so that the Rams will stay in the game. As for defensively, pressure up the middle. I think obviously the Rams have a great D line in the Ndamukong. I can never say his name. In the Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Darnold, one of the best defensive tackle in the game. I think if they can get pressure up the middle, that's where Tom Brady struggles, and they can get really big stops. And if they can get turnovers, I think the Rams will have a great shot at winning the game. And I think playing good defense against Tom Brady, especially in the Super Bowl, will help propel the Rams to victory. So overall, this is a really interesting matchup. And I wouldn't call it a rematch because the Rams and Patriots played in 2001, and the only player that is playing in the Super Bowl now is Tom Brady. And is it a rematch? Yes, but not really. People call it a rematch. No, not really. The Giants in the Super Bowl against the Patriots is more of a rematch than this was. So I don't consider it a rematch, but what can you do? So I'm predicting, and I'm sorry about this. I think the Patriots are going to win their 6th Super Bowl, but that's my prediction. But I'm really pulling for the Rams. If the Rams can win this Super Bowl, then the whole world, I will be happy, and we can go into the off season smiling that the Patriots lost their 2nd straight Super Bowl. But I think overall, I think the Patriots right now are the most complete team, and they have one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. So he's in his 9th Super Bowl, which is crazy. So, I think the Patriots will ultimately come out victorious and get their 6th Super Bowl, which will tie them with the Steelers for most all time. So that's my Super Bowl preview. Enjoy the Super Bowl, the last game of the year before the off season, and that's where we're going to talk about the Bills. Free agency starts a month after the Super Bowl, so until then, go Bills and enjoy the Super Bowl.